Mitch Joel is someone who I have loved emotionally and mentally for many years. Not yet physically, but I'm still holding out hope between now and the time I'm dead. Mitch, you have done so much. I was just thinking about the fact, I was like, when did I first meet Mitch Joel in public? And it was in person. It was at PodCamp, the first one.
Yeah.
And that when everyone said I should invite you and that it turned out you were going to come, everyone said that to me in hushed tones. They all said,
Why?
Mitch Joel is coming to PodCamp.
Oh, no.
That's what they said.
I remember coming to PodCamp, and my show was somewhat new. What year was that? I don't even know.
2006.
2006. So yeah, my show was fairly new, like probably a year and a half. And I thought like I'd missed the boat.
Yeah.
I literally thought like everyone else has a show. What am I doing? Like I'm just, and then here I sit. I just did my 700th episode of 6 Pixels of Separation. And I don't know if this is true. You might know, but I do believe it could be the longest running consistent business podcast ever. I think
I'm going to say it is,
exception
because who's going to check us?
Well, I think Leo Laporte, I don't know if he'd sort of quantify in the same, like he's a tech thing.
Yeah.
But I can't. Yeah. So I'm one of those people where it's like, I dig in. It's like, if I start doing it, like, I'm just going to keep going. And so here we are. It's ridiculous.
We were discussing right before we got going, we were discussing the incredible Beancast, and that's been going on forever, it seems too.
Yeah, Bob Norp and the Beancast to me is still, I was telling you, like, it brings out the best in me. I actually think it brings out better content from me than my own show does. And I think that's just how he curates the guests, chooses the topics, and sort of gets me fired up to the point where I find myself on Saturday or Sunday prior to recording with him, because he records Sunday night, like taking copious notes of like, oh no, that's making me angry. I should talk about this on his show. He's awesome. The Beancast is a great show. If you're into marketing and advertising, gold.
Get into that Beancast. You might not think it from the title. You might not even know what you're getting into. So
he's good.
Mitch, I brought up this old nostalgia-y stuff for 2 reasons. One is that as far back as '05, I was thinking, my gosh, this podcasting thing is neato. And it was like that was when you started as well. In '98, I was blogging. You weren't that much after that, really.
No, 2003-ish, I'll say.
Yeah.
2002, yeah.
So we're the OGs. And I find that there's 2 feelings that I get about being the OG, the original gangsters of this stuff. I feel, what I feel like is I feel like Liev Schreiber and Goon, they're just Ray coming back to St. John's for his last season before they put him out to pasture.
You're going deep.
Yeah, well, I just saw Goon the other day, so it's like right in my head.
It's a movie, people. You should watch it. Yeah,
it's such a film. I'm not even a hockey fan. It made me want to watch hockey.
Right.
The feeling I have at these events is partly like, dude, we were already saying this like 10, 12 years ago, and it makes me grumpy in one way. Like, this is nothing new. And then the other side, you have worked in your company was massive, 3,000 employees. It's idiotically huge to me. No one's still doing it, really, right? Like, if you thought about the percentage of real viable business customers for a large marketing company to go after, or even a little guy, who's out there doing this? And is there just still so much runway ahead of us, or have we all used it up?
Yeah, it's a great question. When I started the digital agency, the real spirit of the content, which was the blog and the podcast and just writing in general and being a part of the digital system, wasn't that people would go, oh, look, like Mitch is a digital celebrity or a micro celebrity or big on Twitter, or like, it was none of that. It was, I was trying to figure out a more direct or more realistic sales channel, a way in which people who might potentially be looking for an agency might see this content and think, that's aligned with my values and I'd like to work with a company like that. And so if I look at it in that construct, it's very easy to see that it was correct. Like, it was just right. And so we wound up building this agency and selling it to a large conglomerate multinational called WPP, and then changed it to be this global agency called Mirum. And I left that, about a year ago after close to 20 years of being part of the agency business. And when I think about the curmudgeon-y things, I do. Like, I get most bitter when people are talking about this stuff as if they uncovered it, like they're the originators of it. I'm okay if they're talking about it in a sort of timeline or from their own perspective. I get frustrated when they think like their content, like no one's thought about this before, it's completely original. That tends to get a little bit under my skin, or really under my skin. It also gets under my skin when I see people who are doing similar things lap me, multiple times. It's a normal thing. I've been at this podcasting thing for 13 years and 700 episodes, and I have a second show on bass players and blah, blah, blah. And to see and I say this with complete love, but when I see even a Joe Rogan or a Mark Maron, I'm like, that was the model I think I sort of started, this idea of really long form, deep conversations. So great that it's been validated, but tough to see that your audience trickles along, and I love my audience. It's great, but it's not at that scale. So you sort of do self-reflect, what am I not doing right here? What should I be doing differently? But I don't know that I 100% agree with the question, because I think really good companies, and I'm talking about small, medium, large companies, I'm talking about B2B and B2C, have really figured out how to tell stories and publish them in dynamic ways. So I think from that perspective, I see it, and I see it every day. I think the ecosystem of the platforms, your FANGs, your Facebook, Apples, Netflix, and Googles of the world, have very much constricted the ability to tell and distribute those stories more freely. And so, unfortunately, when we talk about social media now, what we're typically talking about is a paid advertising channel, because that's essentially what you have to do. But I love seeing B2B companies that are doing webinars and PDFs and white papers and original research and telling more dynamic stories with less and less of the sort of, jargon of the world, and speaking in more human voices. When we started doing this, it was very uncommon to see an individual from a business communicate in a human way. And I would put a check mark next to the fact that you're seeing it more and more. And I would put a check mark next to the fact that even when you look at real engines of automation like AI chatbots, they are trying to get them to speak in human ways. My business partner yesterday said he was on support with some brand, and he goes, I can't tell if this is AI or a human. And he goes, it's kind of good.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. If the line's that blurred and it feels that good, then why should we complain?
Yeah. And then I think that validates the stuff you're talking about and that I spoke about. And by the way, a lot of the stuff that we spoke about, we got really wrong. We really saw it through rose-colored glasses. This sort of amazing thing, this Clue Train Manifesto stuff, this real interactions between real human beings. And we were right. I don't know that we also illuminated or brought up to the real sort of top of the water that this is going to probably be used in a really nefarious way. It's going to create monopolies just like the traditional channels did. I don't think I ever saw that coming. I really thought it would be watch 1,000 flowers bloom. And it turns out that we're stuck with FANG,
It really did go that way. Hey, Mitch, where do people go to find you these days? I'm not ending it, but I am thinking about taking a quick short break. Where do people go?
Sure. Yeah. So blog and podcast is at 6pixels.com, and anything related to me and speaking is mitchjoel.com. But of course, they're interlinked.
You're listening to absolute wizard and celebrity Mitch Joel. We're going to take a short break and be right back.